Coming up on First at 4, a local community is mourning the loss of a lifelong public servant who spent 44 years with the same fire department. How they are being remembered. Plus, it's a program that could offer some stability to inmates nearing release.
And a hot weekend is in store. Temperatures going in the mid-90s. We'll talk about that in the First Alert forecast.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News First at 4.
Good afternoon. I'm Olivia Calfee. First at 4, a retired first responder died this week after a battle with cancer, leaving his community to discuss the life he lived and the legacy he leaves behind. WYMT's Buddy Forbes has more from the Paintsville Fire Department, where Donald Fife served for more than 4 decades.
The Johnson County community is mourning the loss of a career public servant, a man who spent decades not only fighting fires, but igniting the fire in others to do the same. Donald Gene Fife started his career at the Paintsville Fire Department in 1980 and spent the following 44 years serving in some capacity. Always a call away even after retiring for health reasons. The firefighter died Thursday after a long battle with cancer, leaving behind a family, friends, and a fleet of first responders who say they owe their careers in public service to his leadership and passion.
He was instrumental in our department. He was instrumental in the lives of those that were here during his stint as assistant chief. He was a great instructor. He was a great example.
Firefighters say his legacy will live on in the lessons he taught and the leader he was. In Johnson County, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
All right, Buddy, thank you. Visitation begins 4/5 tonight at 5 o'clock. His services are under the direction of Phelps and Son Funeral Home. We will have more about his dedication to duty coming up at 6.
Welcome to the weekend, and we had temperatures in the upper 80s and low 90s, and that trend will continue as we go throughout the Saturday and Sunday time frame. There's the latest with live pinpoint Doppler radar. It's taking a look at the regional perspective. You can see a little bit of shower activity from, let's say, the Dayton, Ohio area through portions of Kentucky, through the Paducah area, off into portions of Missouri. Other than that, we're seeing a clean sweep right now across eastern Kentucky. We see a mixture of sun and clouds out there at this hour. Temperatures are in the upper 80s and low 90s. We're at 90 in Hazard, 90 in London, 91 in Somerset, as well as Manchester. Jonesville is at 93. Wise is at 82. Prestonsburg, Pikeville, good afternoon to you guys. You're at 90 degrees. Next 12 hours has temperatures staying in the 90s till we get to about the 9 o'clock time frame. We'll go to 83 degrees. By the time you join us tonight at 11, we'll see temperatures around 78. And then 5 a.m. will hover right around 72 degrees. When you wake up in the morning, temperatures in the 50s and 60s will be the rule. We'll keep the winds out of the north and northwest, but there is a cool down somewhere on the 7-day, and I'll tell you when in the First Alert forecast in a few minutes. Olivia.
All right, Eric, thank you. Officials with the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services announced Kentucky is included as one of the states offering wider Medicaid coverage for inmates. The program helps inmates nearing release from prison or juvenile centers, but not jails. WYMT's Chandler Wilcox tells us how Medicaid can help jails.
Without the updated Medicaid coverage program, inmates could only have hospital bills paid for. That coverage has now widened. Kentuckians in prison can receive Medicaid up to 60 days prior to their release. The program does not yet, however, include jails. Kentucky River Regional Jail Administrator Lonnie Brewer says Medicaid could offer stability for inmates.
They sometimes will get to a point where they're not economically stable, so they end up doing things illegal to just to survive.
Brewer says the cost for drug abuse medications is expensive. It is unclear when or if jails would be included in the program. In Perry County, Chandler Wilcox, WYMT Mountain News.
All right, Chandler, thank you. And coming up at 6, we will take a closer look at the new Medicaid program and why including jails could be important. Governor Andy Beshear is headed to Japan and South Korea today to talk trade and jobs. He says this weekend he'll talk with leaders at existing Kentucky companies and those looking to consider future investment. Bashir's office says the Commonwealth is home to 200 Japanese-owned facilities that employ 47,000 people. Also on his trip to South Korea, Governor Bashir and Kentucky Transportation Secretary Jim Gray will meet with the National Police Agency of the Republic of Korea to sign a driver's license agreement. This will make it easier for Kentuckians working in South Korea and South Koreans working in Kentucky to be able to drive more accessibly.
And what that does is allow Korean executives and others that are relocating in the United States to be able to drive in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, and if you want to go over to Seoul, for Kentuckians to be able to do the same.
Governor Bashir says there are 7 Korean-owned operations that employ some 1,200 people in the Commonwealth, with 6 more announced that would push employment to 6,700. After weeks of investigating, authorities in Madison County have released the name of a man who died in a house fire last month. When first responders arrived, they found the homeowner, Nancy Irwin, shot outside the home. Inside, they found 59-year-old Jerry Thigpen dead. Authorities say he's the suspected shooter. Court records show Irwin filed an emergency protective order against him in May 2022. The judge dismissed that. Then at some point, Thigpen started living in a garage unit at a property Irwin owned. The fire and shooting are still under investigation. The Madison County Sheriff's Office is thanking the Laurel County Rescue Squad for their help responding to that scene. K-9 handler Stephanie York and K-9 Ginger were presented with a letter of appreciation. Ginger helped find the suspected shooter's remains to rule out someone being at large in the community. The Sheriff's Office K-9 unit presented Ginger with a gift bag of dog treats, a bone, and a ball. Coming up on First at 4, as President Biden works to shore up support within his own party, former President Trump will soon choose a running mate. The latest from the campaign trail.
And we're seeing temperatures in the 90s at this hour. We'll continue that trend for a few days, but there is a cool down, and we're talking temperatures below normal. I'll tell you when coming up in the First Alert forecast in a few minutes. Stay with us.